welcome to the Lean Six Sigma Green Belt training course. My name is Stratos Lazaridis and I will be your trainer and your coach throughout the course. The syllabus has been aligned with IASSC's internationally accepted body of knowledge. So we will start with looking at the analyze phase of DMAIC, and just to reconnect you with what has been previously covered, we have completed the Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt training course, where we covered the define, measure, and control phases of DMAIC. So we start the Green Belt training focusing primarily on the analyze phase, and this is going to be followed by the improve phase. A little bit about the course, a course overview. As you are probably familiar by now, we have different levels of training. The first level of training is the Lean Six Sigma White Belt. This is not part of the syllabus of IASSC. So we started with the Yellow Belt, which we have completed, and now we're moving to the Green Belt training. This is the third level of training, and by completing it, you can demonstrate that you have the knowledge and the understanding about the Lean Six Sigma methodology in order to manage a Lean Six Sigma project at the Green Belt level and standard. So the course is designed for individuals who want to progress within the field of becoming a Lean Six Sigma practitioner. And basically, it is a blend of two disciplines: Lean, that's initiated in manufacturing and is the center point of the Toyota production system, and Six Sigma that was initiated at Motorola, and it is a much more robust and statistically focused type of methodology. What has been determined is by combining Lean and Six Sigma, then we have the best possible outcome in improving our existing process, products, or services, because we combine the strength of Lean, which is about flow and speed, with the robustness of Six Sigma, which is about reducing variation, reducing number of defects, and also improving the level of quality. We're going to look at a wide range of tools and techniques, and also we're going to make some associations with real-life situations where we apply these disciplines. And we're going to basically learn about how to solve business problems and how we can make our organization and its process perform better than they have been doing up to this point in time. So this is an excellent opportunity for those of you attending the course in order to, first of all, showcase to your existing employer about the contribution that you can make into becoming part of a project team that is run by a black belt, or you can run a project on your own. Typically, Green Belt projects are narrow in scope and relatively low in complexity, but by combining a number of different projects that can be run concurrently, we can have the optimum effect. Also, by completing the course, you can showcase to your potential future employer your capability in order to make a significant contribution into improving quality and performance within the organization. The training objectives, first of all, you should be capable by the end of your training to become a key stakeholder in leading small-scale, low-complexity type of projects, focusing on improving existing process, products, or services. You should have a very good understanding about how the DMAIC methodology associated with Six Sigma and Lean Six Sigma is working. And also, you should be able to help identify opportunities for improvement within your organization. This can be individual process, or it can be business areas that potentially they could be performing better than they do. So during the define phase, you'll be setting up your project, or you will be helping the black belt set up the project. During the measure phase, you will be investigating the current state of the process, determining how capable the process under investigation is. During the analyze phase, you will be analyzing data that you collected during the measure phase in order to identify root causes that create waste in a process. And during the improve phase, you will be brainstorming, piloting and implementing solutions in order to either eliminate the root causes that you identified, or at least reducing these causes to an acceptable level. During the control phase, after all the changes in the process have been made, you should be monitoring the process to make sure that all the changes that were made have the desirable effects. And at the end, you should be closing your project in an orderly and very well orchestrated fashion. So typically, we have the 5 stages of DMAIC. Before a project is commissioned, it goes through the project selection process, which is taking place during the predefined phase. And after a project is closed, then we have the benefits realization period, when we actually focus on measuring and quantifying the financial benefits that are deriving from the project. Due to the volume and the complexity of the information that I'll be conveying to you, we have divided the slides in 3 types. The first one is the ones that I call the trainer's presentation slides. These are the ones that I will be presenting. You should be paying particular attention to these slides because they contain all the essential elements from the IASSC syllabus, and you should be looking at them carefully when you're doing your study in your own time. There's another set of slides which is marked as FYI for your information. These are hidden slides. I will not be presenting them, but you should be reading them and trying to digest the content during your own study time. And finally, we have a third type of slides, which is more detail. And these typically contain formulas, calculations, etc. And again, I will have been giving you in advance all the required information and knowledge in order to be able to study and go through the formulas and the calculations at your own time. This is the part of the syllabus that we will be covering in the next few sessions. As you can see, we have the analyze phase of DMAIC. We start with patterns of variation, and you may recall from the yellow belt training that we have two main types of variation in statistics and Lean Six Sigma. Common cause variation, which is inherent in every process, every product, every service, etc. by design, and reducing common cause variation, which is natural variation, is very, very difficult. Either we have to redesign, for example, a process from scratch, or we have to add more resources in order to improve it, in order to reduce this type of variation. The other type of variation is special cause variation. It is associated with events that are taking place outside of the process under investigation. And because in the majority of cases they have a negative effect on the process, we try to identify the root causes of this type of variation and eliminate them. So when a process contains only common cause variation, we say that it is in statistical control. It is stable, which means we can make predictions about its future behavior. But when it contains both common cause and special cause variation, then the process is unstable. So one thing that we have to keep in mind is before we attempt to improve a process, we have to make sure that it is in statistical control and contains only common cause variation. We will cover the topic of inferential statistics. And this is a field of statistics, mathematics, where by taking samples from a population and by studying the samples, we make inferences about the population characteristics. Hypothesis testing is a very important part of our investigation of a process when we try to improve it. And again, we're going to learn that we make two types of hypotheses. The null hypothesis, which typically represents the status quo, that no matter what we have changed, we have not made any statistically significant difference, and any difference is due to common cause variation. And we will also go through the alternate or alternative hypothesis, which is the one that in most cases we try to defend in case that the null hypothesis is not sustainable. So hypothesis testing, depending on the type of data that we're using, we'll see that we have a whole range of this type of statistical tests. We're going to experiment with hypothesis testing with data that are normally distributed. They follow the normal distribution, as well as the cases where the data does not follow the normal distribution. And as part of our green belt training, we will also cover the improve phase of DMAIC, where we're going to focus on the so-called simple linear regression. And we touched on the subject of regression analysis, etc. during the yellow belts, but now we're going to go into more depth. So we'll cover both single linear regression as well as multiple regression analysis. Each of the different sections that we'll be covering will be followed by a quiz comprising a number of questions in order to make sure that you have a clear understanding about the contents that has been covered. About the Lean Six Sigma Green Belt exam, It comprises 100 questions. It is a closed book examination that is proctored, which means that is monitored. And it has 3 hours allotted time in order to answer all 100 questions. The typical forms are multiple choice with one correct answer, sometimes multiple choice with two correct answers, and yes or no type of questions. There are no particular prerequisite for sitting the exam. However, it is always advisable, and it's strongly recommended, that you have completed the green belt training before you attempt to sit and negotiate the exam. And the pass score, the threshold, is 70%. This means that you have to achieve at least 70% of the total score in order to be certified as an IASSC Lean Six Sigma Green Belts practitioner. A little bit about the role itself. You may remember that we have the hierarchy of the belts. You may remember that yellow belts and green belts are typically part-time practitioners. So we would expect green belts to apportion a percentage of their time either participating as team member in black belt projects or running their own green belts, simple, narrow scope type of projects. And the rest of the time, they have a day job. So green belts are typically team leads, department managers, etc. And in the real world, there is an association between green belts and yellow belts in a line management kind of capacity. In other words, typically yellow belts are reporting to the green belts not only in a Lean Six Sigma projects scenario, but also, in day-to-day operations. So, Lean Six Sigma Green Belt is a professional that either participates in Lean Six Sigma Black Belt projects and helps especially during the measure, analyze, and improve phases, or they can manage their own projects. They're expected to have a very thorough understanding of the DMAIC methodology and all the associated tools and techniques. And they should be able to follow the project and manage the project throughout all the 5 stages: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. And also, they are expected to understand how to implement, perform, interpret, and apply Lean Six Sigma at a very high level of proficiency.